She gets hungry for dinner at 8. She loves the theater and never comes late. She never bothers with people she hates. That's why the lady is a tramp.
Hello, everybody. This is Double T coming to you live from These Guys Brewing Company, located at 78 Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. And I am sitting here with one of the owners, Rebecca Alberts. And thank you for inviting us into your home.
Thank you for coming. So happy to have you.
Very happy to be here. So there's an interesting story as to how our families came to meet, and I would like you to tell that story.
So about now, probably 16 years ago, I was working at David Burke Prime along with your nephew, Grant Hodgkin, and he was a dear friend of my husband and I. He has now since passed, so we've named a couple of things after him that we maintain on the menu in his memory, as he was such a dear friend to us. We have the GH007. As we all know, Grant loved 007.
Yes, he did.
So the GH is obviously for Grant, and the 007 is from his motorcycle.
Yeah, I definitely remember the 007 on the motorcycle.
Yep. And then we also just recently produced a Mexican lager. Whenever we hung out with Grant and went out, he always drank Modelo Mexican lagers.
Really?
Yep. The
Okay.
light ones. So I made a Mexican lager in memory of him, and it's named Granted because you can't take life for granted. And it will be coming out in cans later this year. There's a wonderful artist that, if you can check him out, his name is Mikado Endo, and he paints with chopsticks.
Now, did he make the picture of Grant on the motorcycle?
He did, with chopsticks. He painted with chopsticks, and
Okay.
that's actually he approved it to be on the can. So that,
No kidding.
for the federal government, if they pass it, Grant's likeness on his motorcycle will be on the can.
I tell you what, he'd be absolutely thrilled.
I hope so. He'll be smiling down on us.
You know, and I do want to say something now. Why was it named Granted? Who made the quote? Was it Harley or was it you?
Me.
Okay, so I stole something from you. At the end of each one of my podcasts, I always said, tomorrow's guaranteed. But I've since changed it. And now I say tomorrow is Friday. And I did that because of that quote. So I stole that from you. I gave Carly a
Blood.
but I see.
A lot of names. She's come up with a lot of the fun names that we can talk about.
So tell me a little bit about the restaurant.
So we've been open since August of 2015. We are a manufacturing brew pub. Just about 2 months ago, we moved all of our manufacturing equipment to our permanent home at 49 Church Street. That's not open to the public. It's just production because we ran out of space here. And we are not your typical brewery. We prefer to call ourselves foodie-like. So we are pub grub with a foodie flair. You can't get like a plain cheeseburger, hot dog, or pizza here. You get the fancy stuff.
I noticed that. I went through your menu and I looked at all the different accoutrements that go on each individual. Like one caught me was a bacon.
Jam.
Bacon jam. That caught my attention.
That's a house recipe that we've actually been asked to jar to sell to people. And we looked into it, but you have to freeze it and stuff. So it's a whole production. So.
There was a whole. I was very impressed by that menu because, listen, I was in the restaurant business all my life. I know how difficult it is to build a menu. I know how difficult it is to try to reinvent yourself, try to give your customers something that they can't get anyplace else.
That's the idea. So my husband is a trained sommelier, and a lot of restaurants, high-end restaurants, cook with wine.
Yep.
And because we manufacture beer, and that's my passion, I challenged him to cook with beer. So, for example, the beer queso that's on the bacon jam is made with our very own Thames River Red. The French onion soup, the stout onion soup we call it, is made with our house stout. We try and take regular, typical items that you would make at home and put our own authentic spin on them. And we change our menu 4 times a year. So it gives my husband a fun outlet to, because he's a foodie. Like, he's a foodie.
It's good. But what, does he have any time to do anything? I mean, it takes 3 months to build.
Yeah, believe it or not, it takes him about a week. And then we kick it over to the kitchen manager who prices it all out, and then we have a meeting to see if it's workable or not, doable or not. We've had to veto some things because they cost way too much money.
Yep.
But overall, we have a lot of fun with it, and the kitchen staff likes it because they get to give their input.
And you're challenging them.
Yeah, like every Tuesday we have a special called Burger and Brew for $22. You get a house beer and a burger of your choice. In addition to the 4 burgers that we have on the menu, we challenge them to create a burger that they would like to make foodie and eat at home. So
that's the 5th burger on the menu that night.
The 4th burger. Yeah.
4th burger
on the menu that night, and we've had a pizza burger, we've had a French onion dip burger that I have to tell you 2 weeks ago we had to wait at the door. Like it's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. People like to try things that they wouldn't necessarily think of.
Tell me about the French onion risotto. I'm a risotto.
My husband is too. I didn't even like it before my husband started making it for me. We use our French onion soup, and then we fold it into the risotto while I don't know food chef terms, but like while we're beating the risotto and it's cooking, and then we use a little bit less Parmesan cheese, just so it's not overly salty. It's very popular. We always played it at least as specials over a short rib, braised short rib.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the items that we started out with 9 years ago that is just a house favorite of the clientele. So when they start asking for it back, if it doesn't make it to the menu, then it definitely makes its appearances as a special.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And getting bigger, so that must mean you're doing something right and people are coming back.
I hope so. I think that we bought the building on Church Street in 2020, and then obviously everybody knows the world stopped for COVID. So that was a challenge for a little while, and then with inflation, the beginning of this year, we started off a little rocky, but last month and this month we're on par to do well. So
what was this originally?
So this originally was the buildings were never combined. The original building was Billy Wilson's Saloon. And then, 2 tenants ago, the back building here was a stable, a horse stable, during the Revolutionary War. So then they connected, 2 tenants ago, they connected them. So we have this kind of funky pass-through. We call it the private beer garden, so that people can rent this room for private events and special events. Part of handicap accessibility is in this part of the room because upstairs, when it was an old salon, they didn't think about things like handicap accessibility. So,
right.
But we don't own this building.
Okay. Hence the.
It's been rolling.
It's a good work.
Yeah, the original bar Billy Wilson's was the oldest running saloon in Connecticut. So even during Prohibition, they didn't shut down. We found old beer bottles and things in the walls.
Oh, really?
And I'm told from some of the historians that during that time, it fronted as a candy shop, but it wasn't actually a candy shop. It was still a saloon.
Sounds like it.
A little bit. Fun times,
Well, that's amazing. We'd love to maybe have the little samples.
Yeah, flights.
Love to sample the too.
What do you like to drink?
I drink.
I have some great ideas.
Let's see.
So you like West Coast style?
Just like it. Dry.
Let me go grab a few.
That'd be great. And in the meantime, we are here live at These Guys Brewing Company, 78 Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. Stop down and visit us. We're going to do a sampling in a few minutes of some of the beers that are on the menu. One of the beers would be the Granted. Would you like to come up? Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my sister, Karen Hodgson. And this is the mother of Grant Hodgson, who Rebecca was talking about. Let's see if Rebecca told the story of your friendship with Grant, GH007. And I just thought maybe. She also told the thing about the beer can.
Portrait. Somebody took several pictures of him on his plate, which was China's T100 artist.
Find some wall space for that.
So, I knew about that GH007 every time.
It's a true testament to their friendship and Ray and Rebecca's loyalty to the friendship. And it's nice that they're keeping it going. And by putting that on the can, they're going to keep that going in perpetuity. That's just amazing. You're amazing. No problem. You're very welcome. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. Boy,
I'm gonna get Mr. Hodgkin a baby Granted.
Mr. Hodgson?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to see what I'm looking at. So, show it. How does that look? That's a little sampler. I'm going to try my first one, and I'm going to try the Granted. Maybe I should wait for that. It's an amazing tribute to a friendship that lasts for forever, no matter what. It's just absolutely amazing. Oh, that one's for you.
Yep.
Okay. So what do you have?
I have granted.
Okay. That's the first one I'm going to try.
Cheers. I
Sure.
know grant.
One. Very good. Never. So I always like that. So it can be-
So hold on, I'm just gonna clear the bottle too to help it get a little.
Had one Corona. At least 20. Never had it.
One and done.
One and done. Didn't like it. Didn't like it.
I call Corona a lawn here.
Okay.
Like, if you mow the lawn, it's like having a water.
You know, it's kind of funny because you can't really drink. Now, which ones? Let's go with hazy
Easy hookup. So I brought. You said you like IPA, so
Yep.
the other three are all IPA.
IPAs. Okay.
So this is my New England style, citrus hop, slightly cloudy. It's the most popular.
Fun. It's like if you sat me down, you know,
Must depend because you're the Mexican and lager. Granted, is the Mexican lager.
okay,
So it must depend on maybe the hop, maybe the what it's made out of.
maybe
Does it give bubbles in your tummy?
just I get full.
Bubbles.
IPA.
Drink all day.
Check them out.
You sound like my husband.
So I found I had a restaurant in the late discovered soup. It's like, torpedoes a little. Just yeah. Like the regular. Mhm. And you're gonna laugh when I tell you. But you know what beer I domestic. You know, the- oh God.
No, a lot of brewers though. A lot of production brewers. Their go-to staple is Busch Light because they can have a ton of them and they know how many they get because it brings them back to like college days.
Yeah.
Though, huh?
That was my college days was Carling Black Label.
Not familiar.
And Knickerbocker. And the Knickerbocker used to come in 20-ounce cans too, I think. That was the beer that we always
So I was homebrewer. So
had. You sell growlers.
I do. I do. And then we have about, I have sales reps, so we have about 55 accounts now
Wow.
that buy kegs locally all the way out to West Hartford.
Now are those sixes?
Some are logs and some are half barrels. So one of my best accounts is actually Foxwoods. They buy a lot of things River Red.
Come on.
Um,
You got
yeah, the gentleman that owns Hell's Kitchen,
yeah.
they apparently, this is what Foxwoods tells me. I don't know if it's true. All of a sudden, one day they order 10 half barrels. I'm like, oh my gosh, who do I thank? I haven't tasted anybody on anything. And they said that for Hell's Kitchen, they did recon for 6 months locally because they wanted some local beer. And they wanted something that they thought paired great with his menu. So it started just being at Hell's Kitchen, and now it's in, I think, 6 restaurants there, as well as Lake of Isles.
No kidding.
Yep, Lake of Isles is a little different only because they take a bunch of different stuff.
That's the problem.
Yep, they've taken everything from my Pilsner to my IPAs. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm honored and overwhelmed, and I never, when you start out being a home brewer, you never think anybody's gonna like your product like you do. And I thought, my friends and family are just being nice to me, and then we actually got the courage to go out on our own because we tasted David Burke, our old boss. He was nice and yet intimidating, and he told us we had 1 year to get our quote unquote shit together. I hope that's okay for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he said you shouldn't work, you should do something on your own. So I'm going to give you a year
While you were working for
while we were working. So we did the build out of this restaurant. It took us about 6 months because we renovated quite a bit, and then we opened. We never looked back.
Now this is what? Gen Pop?
Yes, so Gen Pop is the closest thing I make to a West Coast style that's higher ABV. So that one comes in at like, yep, that one comes in a little above 7.5%. This batch did. I try and get that one around 8, and then if you try the little sip up, that's my lesser one. That's more West Coast style, more hop forward. I dry hop it.
Talk to me about ingredients. The road manager over there was talking about brewing.
Does he like beer?
Yeah. And he asked me, he said, I'd really love to see you. I said, but it's not so much. I said, you have to have the right brewmaster. Yes.
Terroir. Go down to the ground. That the nutrients we're going to get a different product. For example, if you plant a Chardonnay here and Chardonnay in California. So the same thing is if you plant, let's just say, Columbus hops here and Columbus hops in Pacific Northwest. So unfortunately, you can't, in my opinion, to stay authentic to styles and to stay authentic to recipes, sometimes you can't support local like you'd like to. I haven't had that experience with grain. You can get grain local, and you can get grain from Europe, depending on, and from the Midwest, depending on what kind of beer style you're making.
Well, everything is soil, weather.
Yes, like some old school noble hops, for example, in Europe. For a year, I was having a really time sourcing one of my favorite old school hops called Hallertau. I use it in my effed up on Pilsner recipe because they had a drought. Right? I know. We have some fun beer names.
I love it.
We're very proud
I love it. I love it.
I don't want them to be, we're authentic. I always wanted, this is funny, but a little thing about me is when I was a kid, I was loved Mad Libs.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to be able to line up my beer cans and beer names, and people could create a Mad Lib.
Yeah.
Like I met a beautiful stranger, my beer name. In Gen Pop, my beer name. When I was effed up on pills, my beer name. Because I had a hazy hookup, my beer name.
Gotcha.
You know, like just there's fun stuff, like fun stuff. 'Cause life is serious enough when you're an adult. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, way too many.
Everybody rushes to grow up, and then as soon as you grow up, it's not that fun.
Nowadays, people are way too serious.
Sure. They showed us that life is short. Man, past the 5 year mark.
Yeah, but people.
Oh, people like why they're sponsoring a soccer team, baseball. So we
That's every
should get it.
What? Hopeful. Yes, I think sharper.
More beans back. Like,
Small business owners. Not they speculate.
right.
Yeah. So is the other location.
One of the recipes in that one.
Here's a guy that's a here's a guy. He's well, maybe in 10. But
Funny was when I first brought him the beer to try, he was like, he only drank Sancerre wine at the time. And I was like, listen, I don't know if you're going to like this, but could you share this with your board meeting? And he was like, yeah, we'll pour it. I'll let you know. And that's when he came to us and he was like, we got a year. Figure it out.
so has he tried any of your?
My originals, he had tried my Thank You for Red, and he had tried my Kaiser Willie Imperial Stout, and he had tried my 4-cent IPA, which is 40% of my staff is day one,
That's awesome.
which is unheard of in the restaurant business, you know. And then I probably have about 25 to 30% that are within year one. But when they all first started working, all the young girls, they all drink Bud Light, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
How many of you drink Bud Light today?
None of them. They're such. I love it. They're such beer snobs now. They come in and they're like, "Listen, so and so made this sour. I think you can do it better. I challenge you." And I'm like, "Oh, challenge accepted." Like I love that kind of stuff. So we've entered a couple contests. We got a gold medal at the GIBCC for our black IPA called Beautiful Stranger. And then I did my best friend during being open. She found out that she's gluten intolerant, not allergic, but intolerant. And one year for Christmas, a couple years ago, I had asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she said, "I would love a beer that I can drink. I am over cider. I am over the sweetness of cider. Can you make me a beer
It's gluten-free.
that's gluten free?" So I made a gluten juice beer that comes in at 0.05% gluten, very, very low. It's called Autumn Cara, which in Gaelic means beautiful soul, which is how I think of her. And that one year it won silver, and another year it won bronze.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it.
That's what you should be.
I mean, it's hard to win. There's a lot of competition. I mean, at the time when I entered Ankara at the GIBCC, I beat Omission, made by Budweiser. So like, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I made it, or you landed, you know. But it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love. And if you don't like it, it's hard to stay excited about it. I'm very excited about it. And I challenged the kitchen a lot to like, hey, I made a raisin ale last year, which is a brown ale that I use raisins in. I wanted it to be like a cinnamon bread. And I was like, listen, guys, this would be great in regular bread. You guys should start making bread. And then they made bread for a little while. They made homemade focaccia. And they put a little raisin ale in it. It's worked out fantastic. So I challenged them as much as they challenged me.
I can see it pouring.
I love it.
I can just see it pouring out.
Thanks.
That's 10 years in.
Yeah. Well, try more.
I don't know if you can see that without the glass. With the, there's a picture of Grant and Becca. Sorry for the glare, but that was Becca's whole kitchen when they were.
Like a lot of people,
Yeah. Don't thank you. No, thank you. Appreciate it. I will say that number two is my favorite. Okay. Hence the name. Folks, if you have an opportunity to do a random act of kindness for someone, please take that opportunity. Because if you do that random act of kindness, the world will be a much better place to live. So until we meet again, this is Double T with Rebecca Alberts. These Guys Brewing Company at 78 Franklin Street, Norwich, Connecticut. Say ciao.
Memories pressed between the pages of my mind. Memories sweeping through the ages just like wine. Quiet thoughts come floating down and settle softly to the ground like golden autumn leaves around my feet. I touch them and they burst apart with sweet memories. Sweet memories of holding hands and red bouquets and twilights trimmed in purple haze, laughing eyes and simple ways, quiet nights and gentle days.